Welcome, NextOppSocial family. Juwan Buford, broadcasting Detroit metropolitan area. Ashley from Space Lab. Always gotta give all the shout out to Space Lab. They've been so good to us. Bobby and Karen Burton. I love the fact that they provide this wonderful, incredible space full of entrepreneurs getting it in. And of course, if you are familiar with NextOppSocial, or maybe you're not familiar, we know what you're here for, right? What do we talk about? Entrepreneurship. We're all about advocating for individuals to live their best lives, and we believe entrepreneurship is one of the most effective ways to do it. We love providing content, interviews, and information that actually comes from gurus as opposed to gurus. In other words, people who are actually out here building fantastic enterprises. We feel like it's one of the most effective ways to pour back into the community and give people the soul food they need, and also practical, actionable information to build successfully in the marketplace. So without further ado, and of course, let me say this too, shout out to Rochelle and Nina. I know you two may not be able to make it, weren't able to make it today, but the beat goes on, and definitely will catch you next time around. So my two business partners are not here today. Miss Aniah Jackson reel me in. So you might be in trouble. No, you're gonna be fine. So without further ado, I want to welcome Aniah Jackson. Definitely glad you're willing to take time out of your schedule to interview with us today and pour into our audience. And if you don't mind, just share a little bit of information about yourself and, more specifically, how did you get into real estate? Like what caught your attention and what are you most excited about in terms of your practice today?
Well, I started about the age of 30. I was just at a point in life where, like so many people, I had a good job.
Yes.
I was working, I was doing very well. Life was getting, back together. This was shortly after the real estate crash of 2008, when I really wish I was in real estate. However, I digress. And is when I started to see that people were doing really well in this business, and it didn't take very much for them to get started. And I thought to myself, this is something that I could do and I can make a success out of it for myself. So I started, learning and reaching out to meet people, which is very against my character because I'm very much so an introvert. Um, However, I wanted to pursue something else because I was very, very tired of the auto industry. Um, I was really ready for a change, and I never thought that I could be a business owner. I had the regular ideas that we get from our parents. You work at a job until you're old, and then you go somewhere and sit down in a corner and die. Like, well, that's what happens to a lot of people. They work at a job, and then shortly after that, they don't have anything else, and they go to sleep. Like they leave here. So I started to embrace the idea of building something for myself more and more, as time went on, and that's essentially how I got started.
Okay. So you start out in the auto industry. What were you doing? Like, what were you doing in the auto industry? If you don't mind me inquiring.
I'm sorry, there was a slow blink there, but
That's
I
okay.
was quality coordinator. I worked with quality engineers, and anybody who's ever worked with engineers, God bless you.
Okay.
Some of
I
them
can
are
see the enthusiasm emanating from you as you talk about this. Yes.
they are highly intelligent,
Mhm.
very high functioning people.
Mhm.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Okay, fair enough. So, so you look around, you included like a lot of entrepreneurs, right? You took inventory, I know for me, we've all heard the story, right? Go to school, make good grades, go out and get a good job, and you start looking around and you realize that necessarily isn't the deal, right? I am not gonna work and then not work and then sit in the corner and wither away. So you looked around and you said 2008, which caught my attention. Like that's when you decided to choose entrepreneurship in 2008 in real estate.
No, actually, in 2008, I was unemployed
Okay, all right.
due to the market crash. And by the time
Uh,
30 hit, it was like 2010, I
mhm,
started getting my footing again because it did take a little while to
mhm.
rebound from the auto industry having, all of the issues that it did. So that's when I started kind of looking around like, what else is there? Because I really realized that there really is no certainty that our parents had when they were working, with
Yeah,
companies in those industries. Like my grandfather retired in 1980 and he lived a good life until he went to sleep. But again, it was a different industry.
yep.
You know what I mean? And it was a different time. And that's just not where we are anymore.
Mm, no, no, if you still believe in job security today and pensions and all that fun stuff, you might as well believe in the tooth fairy. So,
Exactly.
so, so something that caught my attention, like you said you were introverted,
Very much so.
then you're starting a real estate business when there's like
Exactly.
blood in the streets and real estate agents are literally jumping off, I mean, literally and figuratively, like jumping off the roofs of their homes, like I'm done. You're getting started during that time. And then the other thing that really caught my attention, you said, because I don't hear this too often. A lot of people start in real estate, they don't have the attitude of this is easy. This is something I think I can do. Usually people are kind of intimidated by the process, but that's not what you share. Like, talk to me about that.
Um, I I wasn't intimidated by the process.
Okay.
Started learning from a lot of people online, and instead of buying like thousands of dollars worth of books, I would hear something and I would go do it.
Mm,
They'd say, get a list of expired listings or sign up for this service right here and we'll provide you leads. And I did it because I wanted to get started. Um, I don't really have a lot of I didn't really have a lot of fear
mm,
of um failing because I didn't have anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like at the end
yeah.
of I still had a job. Um and I was still making money. So, I'm out of what, $20 maybe an hour of my time. Um it wasn't really that scary for me
Yes.
in the beginning.
I love what you said. I mean, so often entrepreneurs kind of overthink this thing,
Mhm.
right? Entrepreneurship really can sometimes just be as simple as a two-step. We're going to turn to a salsa,
Mhm.
right? And it doesn't sound like you spent a lot of time inspecting the roots, which a lot of people do. They spend so much time analyzing and inspecting the roots of something, while other people are out there picking the fruit, right? They want to get it right, want to be perfect, want to be excellent. What I'm hearing from you is you learn and then you just go do.
Yeah, there's no such thing as perfect. And regardless
Yep.
as to how long you're in any business or any industry, no one, and I do mean no one, listen, no one can teach you everything that you need to know about a business. You are going to have to learn on your feet. Just like when you're going into the auto industry. Yeah, you have what they say in the book, but reality is something completely different. You have to learn as you go. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how it's always been. You may have been educated in a certain field, but when you get into your job and your career, there is some training that goes along with that. And some stuff you're just going to run into and you have to wing it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, but for a lot of people, winging it is not their idea of a good, fun Friday night. But that's when you really learn and you really find out if something is for you or if it's not.
Right. Right. And once again, something else I'm picking up from you as well. You didn't necessarily just wing it though. You were willing to learn and become a
Exactly.
student of the game. Right.
Exactly, because I will tell you the first, um, house that I ever got under contract as a wholesaler, I did exactly what they told me not to do. When I say I made every mistake that they said, bullet point, "Do not do this," and I ran to it with glee. And the truth is I was so excited just to have that one little bitty win under my belt.
Yes.
those small victories, they count for something. But I'm going to tell you on the other end of it, when I realized that exactly what they said would happen, I kind of hit a little bit of a low there for a minute. It took me probably a month or two to dust myself off and
Mhm.
decide to get back to it. And when I did, I learned from the experience. Don't pick the best house on the worst block.
Mm.
Don't do it. Don't do it. The
Mhm.
neighborhood sells the house, okay?
Yes.
Not that one house. Not that one house. So lesson
So you mentioned wholesaling, right?
learned.
And for me, that I always get excited when I learn about other wholesalers because that's kind of the way I kind of cut my teeth, right? And currently even cutting my teeth in the real estate industry. Like I'm not a licensed real estate agent. Um, and I was trying to debate whether or not I really had interest in it. And
Mhm,
I realized wholesale could be like a gateway to give me some experience underneath my belt. And before I make the plunge and make the investment in licensing, but really decide, okay, can I see myself picking up the phone, calling individuals? And wholesale is totally different. Like you need to have a little bit of thick skin. You're gonna get cursed out, yelled at. Realtors don't like you. The sellers don't like you. The buyers don't like you. It's like you are like anthem until you start really bringing value to the marketplace. People realize, okay, this person's serious. What does that process look like for you, or what did it look like for you when you were starting out? So you start getting a little bit of momentum, and start having a bit of success. Like, what did that process look like?
mhm. That process for me was a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, it was a little bit different. I'll say it that way because that makes sense. I started by going to tax auctions
Okay.
to meet people who were bidding because I can't sell anything if I don't have any buyers, right?
Yep.
And then from there, I started going to the courthouse. So I would sit in landlord tenant court and I would listen and see who were the landlords and who weren't. And then I would wait around and catch them in the hallway and say, hey, if you're ever interested in selling your property, here's my card, please contact me.
Okay.
So I started that way. I didn't necessarily start with sellers because there is kind of a buildup. You know what I'm saying? The one thing that you don't want to do though is go out and get a product and you don't have the actual structure in place to move the product. So
Yes.
I started that way. And I met a contractor, really great guy. I know him to this day. And he put me in touch with a property manager
Mm-hmm.
who had a problem property that she just wanted to sell. So I made my first sale just by networking with people. I really wasn't calling sellers because I still had a job and I knew that that was going to be um, an upward hill climb for me. It wasn't going to
Mm-hmm.
be the best situation. So I kind of went the roundabout way. And
I like.
I was able to move that first property, and that was my first win. And that's when, I'm standing on a cheerleading line, like, okay, this works.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can do this again.
Yes.
And so time went on and I, started talking to more people that I actually knew about what I was doing. And that started to help bring in resources. When I say resources, I mean people that are in the business as well, because you're going to need them. And that's when I started meeting more people, and the more people the more potential it is for you to get in and help someone that they know that's in a bad situation. So that's how I started getting my client.
Okay. So when we originally had a discussion about this, listen to you was like, I'm listening, I'm like, this person like had a really good start. Like all the bumps and bruises you hear people talking about, it's like kind of hop skipping, some of them. And some of them. And you're crushing it at some point in the business. And then a series of events transpire and you're not crushing anymore.
Yeah.
What were these challenges like? What were you talking? Because this is what caught my attention about you, because so often, you know, I tell entrepreneurs all the time, it's like the entrepreneur journey is like the stock market. I remember people used to come in my office all the time talking about, you know, my former life as an investment advisor, you know, Juwan, you know, what do you think the market's going to do? And I look at them like, it's going to do what it's done for the last century. It's going to go up and it's going to go down, right? And I think people forget that sometimes. So that's just part of the deal. You got to accept the ups and downs in life and kind of, you know, maintain. But you had, I wouldn't say you skyrocketed, but you did pretty well. And then all of a sudden, you had these series of events transpire. And I remember listening to you like, wow, like where did she get the emotional, I want to say maturity and the dexterity to kind of come through that? If you don't mind, like share that part of your story, like what transpired. You're having success, you're moving homes, you're growing in the community, you're doing well. I mean, what caused the hiccup?
Well, Wendy Patton, who was my first broker when I finally did get my license, and she
Okay.
is a wonderful real estate investor and entrepreneur, told me in a room full of like 150 people that one day you will get sued.
Mm.
And that's what happened.
Hey.
That's what happened. And life really does happen. And when you're dealing with business and you don't have the resources to pull from when you run into situations like that, it really does cause a full stop. It
Yes.
really does. And when you don't have the backing that you need in your corner, you will have to start over. You will definitely have to start over. And that is where I am now. It started in 2019 and it finished in
Mm-hmm.
2019 because again, I didn't know what I was doing, because no one's
Mm-hmm.
around for these type of things. You know, the smart people listen to people when they drop little nuggets, but when you're feeling yourself and everything is
Mm-hmm.
going well, you know, you always think, no, I don't think that's going to be me. Totally not the case. It absolutely was me. And you have to deal with your mental mind first before you can dust yourself off and get back out there, because like, you know, I was telling you before, your ego, you know, is your biggest cheerleader when you're doing well. And when you're not, it is worse than your enemy out in the streets. I'm telling you, I will wake up some days feeling like a complete and total loser. Like, how dare this happen to me? What am I going to do? And you finally do get to the point where you realize that most people's first businesses fail. I lasted a lot longer than some people who have gotten into the business with actual great products to sell. And I learned a lot along the way, and I made a lot of great friends in this business. I have some great clients, and you know, you learn from it and you
Mm-hmm.
rebuild yourself. Eventually, you really do get on the other side of those negative emotions and feelings. And I'm not going to lie to you, it is a process. Some days are better than others. So
Mm-hmm.
here I am starting over.
So you shared a lot. There's a lot to unpack here, right? Something that triggered me when I was listening to you, and I have this conversation with people all the time. It's the attitude that I walk around with, right? I mean, I just feel like, as you indicated before, I know most entrepreneurs fail. I know most entrepreneurs never even cross the 100K per year threshold, right? Most entrepreneurs are earning just like regular folks earn at their jobs.
Mhm.
They may have more of the accoutrement to success, but in terms of actual incomes,
Mhm.
it's pretty much the same, right? So you talk about being an entrepreneur and crossing that 100K plus 6 figure to 7 figure income, you're in rare air, right? And I kind of realized that early on as an investment advisor and dealing with all the entrepreneurs I was dealing with on a week-to-week basis. So for me, I never had the attitude of entitlement. Like, I felt like it was a blessing that every single day I could get up and build my business, that it really was a blessing, that I really was fortunate. Like I had, and still to this day, I have such gratitude. Because I don't think that anything is, I think the universe especially loves me as opposed to somebody else.
Exactly.
Right? Like, I really don't believe that. Like somehow I have, I don't know, something secret, intrinsic success, super blessing DNA, right? That I can catch that L just like everyone else. And,
Absolutely. And truthfully, the universe doesn't love you any less
right,
when your business fails and you have to start over.
right,
It really is just life and what you go through. And there's no part of being on this earth where you're not going to learn and you're not going to have to change and you're not going to have to grow from where you were into something else. It's just not the way it works.
right. So I can't even get past this, right? Because there are people listening to this and they really do think it's a game. Now, I tell people all the time, Walmart gets sued, you know, whatever. Target gets sued. It's just a bad PR issue for them. They have an army of attorneys and resources. You as a small business owner, if you catch that L, even if you win, you lose. Like,
All of it.
what if that process, and I don't want to revisit this, I don't want to cause you trauma, but people need to know, like, what does that look like? Somebody sues you. What does that look like in response and going through it and coming through it? If you don't mind, like, why did the lawsuit happen in the first place? And then what does that look like? So you realize you're being sued. You necessarily don't have the resources at your disposal to defend yourself, right? Talk to me. How did you go through and come out of this?
I employed the ostrich method.
Okay.
You know, when you stick your head in the hole.
Yeah.
I did that. So I went through it very easily and without much participation on my side.
Oh.
Oh, because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know. So, by the time I got myself together and I responded to everything, guess what? I got a letter in the mail for default judgment.
Mm,
So don't do that,
right.
everybody. Don't do that.
Because a lot of people do that. I told
A lot
legal.
of people do
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
it's like I can laugh about it now. I can chuckle about it now. But when I was going through it, not so much. So you really have to think of it as a lesson learned. And if you have an inability to tuck and roll when you take these punches, you're going to have to learn how to tuck and roll and take punches because nobody has a smooth ride in anything that you do, whether you work for someone else or you choose to work for yourself.
Mhm.
You have to learn how to get back up.
So default.
Mhm.
What did default look like? Like, what were the circumstances? Like, what was the consequences of default?
But basically, I did not get my response in on time, and you only have so many days to get your response or your rebuttal in. Now,
Yeah.
I did it and I mailed it back. However, I didn't do it on time. I didn't know that there was a time constraint um, tied into the paperwork.
Yeah.
So basically, they didn't levy the maximum against me, but they did get what they were asking for.
Mm.
And I've made peace with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now there's just you paying back or the recompense. associated with it. You just, you climb out of that.
Yeah.
So you said something else caught my attention. You talked a lot about mindset and what you were thinking and what you were saying to yourself, right?
Mhm.
And what are some of the tools I guess you use to shift? Like what did that process look like for you when you were going through the suck, right? Going through all of this.
Mhm. Well, I am someone who reads and reads and reads and reads. If I sit
Mm.
still long enough and all that's available to me is the National Geographic, I will read it from cover to cover. I am always taking in books that are considered more so business and self-help type of books. And
Yeah.
I've sat through a lot of real estate investment club meetings where the speakers have come in and said things that have stuck with me over the years. I've been in business development classes. Um, a person who stands out in my mind to this day, Sherry Swift. Um, and to this day, I still get up at. There is not a day during the week where you will find me sleeping at 5 a.m.
Mm.
So all of these things that you learn along the way, they shape you and they change you. And when you're having those struggles and those moments, you recall those things that you learned and those things that you've heard, those quotes that you wrote down that stuck out to you, that spoke to you. You recall those when you are going through these things. And just like I said, Wendy Patton stood in a room of people and said, one day you're going to get sued.
Yeah.
I didn't think that I would, but I'm sitting here telling you that I was.
Okay. All right.
So you learn things, and there are things that stick with you, and they come to mind when they're needed. Basically, truthfully, that's how I got through uh, a lot of it, and I really do. I have a good support system in the business, and also just my circle of friends. You know,
Mhm.
people and who you surround yourself, they matter.
Mm. So, I'm a nerd, so I gotta go in. These books that you read,
Uh-huh.
what are some of the books that you read, and what were some of the most valuable nuggets or lessons you took from your readings that help you kind of navigate what was going on?
Okay. Every person that I know that started in real estate um, read Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Read that book because it's a great book. No matter how old or how long ago it was written, it really is a great book. Here more recently, a book that I read that really helped me get my mind together and get me back in a business gear was Don't Bullshit Yourself. It's literally the name of the book.
Don't bullshit yourself.
Yes.
The title being provocative alone is enough, right?
It's a
So,
book. It's a great book.
so tell me, the title kind of tells you what the book's probably about. What was your biggest take back from it? How did it benefit you?
Um, the biggest thing that I got from it is you have to treat your business like a business and do not lie to yourself about what you are doing and what you are not doing. Um, the book was written by John Taffer. He's the gentleman from Bar Rescue,
Mm.
the guy that goes in and helps these people get their businesses back on the right track.
Yeah.
That's where he got the inspiration to write a book because a lot of people in those bars were bullshitting themselves.
Yeah.
So um, the title alone caught my attention as well.
Yes.
However, when I started to delve into the actual book, I'm like, okay, he's telling me about myself right now. All right, I'm gonna drink this drink, but I'm gonna finish this.
So, and look, I'm gonna go in again. So what are some of the lies you were telling yourself? What are some of the things, what was your bullshit?
I was not being as productive as I could have been
Okay.
during the course of the day. That's where he also tied in with Sherry Swift. Um, we were in class one day, we were doing like a once a week business building class.
Hmm.
And I kept telling her, I feel like I'm not getting enough done during the course of my day. And she was like, really? Everyone has the same 24 hours. What time do you get up? What time do you like to get up? And I said it with my whole chest in front of the whole class, right? Because I'm not a morning person, okay? I don't like getting up in the morning. I said, I like waking up at 10 a.m.
Ooh.
Hey, give me credit, okay? I didn't
Yeah.
lie.
I'm giving you fully of it.
I didn't lie. And so she said, ooh, could that maybe be part of your problem? Of course, denial is a friend of mine, when you're talking to me about sleep. And I was like, absolutely not. I need that time, to really, have a fresh, clear mind when I get up and all of this other stuff, right? And so she issued me a challenge. Okay.
Hmm.
And she said, starting Monday, I want you to get up at 7 a.m. I was like, 7? Yes, I work afternoons for a reason. What you mean, 7 a.m.? And she said, I want you to get up at 7 a.m. and I want you to log everything that you've got done. And when you come in next week, I want you to tell me what you accomplished. So I accepted the Pepsi challenge, right? Because I'm in class with her. I can't not do it, right? So I started getting up at 7. And sure enough, my to-do lists actually started getting done.
Mm.
Okay. I was like, I don't want to go in here and tell this lady that she right, but she knows she right. That's why we paid her. I don't like it. But anyway, I accepted it, right? So I go in, I report my findings, right? And she says, that's great. I'm so happy for you. How do you feel? And I said, I feel a lot better because I feel like I'm actually getting stuff done and I'm being effective. And she said, that's great. Well, I'm going to issue another challenge. I want you to get up a half an hour earlier. So 6:30. And before the class was over and done, I was getting up at 5 a.m. And I have been up at 5 a.m. ever since. Now, mind you, this has been some years ago. This is not
Yes.
something that happened last year. So
Right.
basically, you trained me, and you will not catch me sleeping at 5. At
So
5, I'm up and I'm doing things and I'm being productive.
so you have individuals on the other side of the fence who are like, hell no, I'm not getting up at no 5 a.m. Right?
Hmm.
I became an entrepreneur. So I get up at 10 and 11. Okay, so why is the 5 a.m. wake up so important? What impact has it made in your journey?
No one needs you at 5 o'clock in the morning, but
Mm-hmm.
you, you have time to do those things that you absolutely hate doing.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's comparables.
Mm.
I'm a realtor, but I don't like doing comps. When you're in the pace of your day and you're dealing with clients and you are handling your business, by the time you get home, you don't want to do those comps. Okay. Paperwork and things like that have always been dead last on my list. But if I'm up at 5, mm, more so around these days, 4:45, if you're up and you get them out of the way, they're done, right? If you're up and you answer those emails, they're done. Those people that say they don't have time to work out, if you get up and you give yourself that 45 minutes, it's done, it's out of the way. You don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day. Um, I find that you have time to take a moment to breathe and read something to really get your mind together for the rest of the day. getting up that early, you are really giving yourself a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a gift that keeps on giving. And it is an opportunity for you to make and create good habits that will structure you and take you through your career. And it gets easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will tell you, I do not like it. When my alarm clock goes off, I am not happy. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
actually hate it when I wake up before my alarm clock goes off. I don't care if it's only a minute early. I don't like it. However, I still get up and I get started.
So something that we kind of touched on, but I want to make sure our audience caught it too. It's a habit that I, even myself to this day, like every 3, 4 months, I'll take inventory. And it's actually advice I used to give my clients. You know, they would come in the office and say, I don't have enough money. I
Mhm.
don't have, I don't have any disposable income. I can't afford to invest, or I can't afford to buy an insurance policy. And I would tell them, I want you to take out a notebook starting today. And as inconvenient it might be, I want you to literally write down every penny, everything that you spend money on, whether it's coming out your account electronically, automatically, or whether or not you are making a conscious decision to walk into a convenience store and buy some chips or buy some gum, right? And they would be so amazed, and they would come back like a month later with this list of stuff. And they would say, I had no idea I was blowing this amount of money. Like I
Mhm.
had no idea that $50 cafe latte I got from Starbucks was crushing my budget like this, right? Because that stuff adds up, man. People will literally be
Absolutely.
people will literally be spending 30, 40 minutes, even an hour. I mean, they'll be spending 30, 40, $50 a day on junk, not even realizing it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because so go get some gas, which costs $1 million. While you're in there, you end up buying maybe a Gatorade or a Red Bull or some other stuff. And then if you're doing a lot of driving, you end up going to the gas station again, and then you start buying some more junk. And then you go home and you start looking around on your phone, and you see something on Amazon that you want, and it seems innocuous, right? Oh, I need a belt. Oh, I need some socks. Oh, I need some Tupperware. Oh, I need some whatever. And you blow another, 10, $15. And then your friend calls you and says, hey, can we go out? Let's go out tonight. And you're like, shit, I've been working hard. I deserve this. Okay, I'm only gonna spend $10. And you never spend just $10. Okay, you're gonna go out there,
Yeah.
you're gonna get yourself a couple drinks. Then you can start feeling warmed up. You're gonna buy some shrimp or some tacos. And before you know it, I'm blowing through another $50. And if you do that 20 times over the course of a week, it adds up. And it's kind of like the whole time thing, right? It's the
Mhm.
same thing how you're spending your time. It's not the 2, 3 hour increments. You're not blowing 2 and 3 hours at one time. You're blowing 5 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 30 minutes there, and it starts to add up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So, man, I can go on and on with this, but we don't have 2 hours for this. So, what are some of the? I guess I don't know. What are some things that you did very well that you would encourage anyone who's getting into entrepreneurship or even specifically the real estate industry that you would suggest? And then what are some errors, some like straight up will detonate your business if you do these that you would share?
Some of the things that I did very well. I know I mentioned it before. I am very much so an introverted person.
Yeah,
So I would have a glass of wine and go to networking events because I needed something to kind of relax me a little bit and get me outside of my own head.
yes,
But I would go in and I would meet people and I would meet as many people as I could while I was there. I would find out what they did, their
mm-hmm.
clients, and I didn't really talk very much about me
Mm.
because people actually like having a moment, especially if they're new in business, to tell you about themselves and what they do and how they can help people. And
Yes,
if you can provide them with a client, if you could pass their name and number over to someone who could be a potential client, people are really grateful for that type of help because They didn't have to pay for it. It's free.
Mm.
And in return, if they have a client that is your ideal client, you will be top of mind. People do business with people they like, know, and trust. And
Dale
we all know
Carnegie.
where that came from.
Yeah.
It's it's true though. It
Hmm.
it it will always be true. So that's what I did very well. What I did not do very well though is follow up.
Mm.
I did the lazy thing, which was put all my business cards in a drawer instead of in a CRM.
Hmm.
I did not create consistent touches with them, which is what your CRM hopes you do. I didn't do that. It's a part of marketing and it's free. Like it's free 99. There are so many free CRM services out here that will help you get your life in order. And I met people constantly, constantly. Great resources, right? I put their cards in the drawer.
Mm.
So for all of you that are listening, don't do that. That's your money. Don't do that. Okay. I don't care if you send them a text message. Hey, just wanted to make sure everything's going well with you. How are you? You know, when you show people that you care, you stay top of mind. And then on top of it, truthfully, if you are reaching out to them, you are someone who cares. So it's nothing fake about it. You're not being phony. This is how business happens. A lot of people say a lot of business deals are done on a golf course because you're there and
Hmm.
being liked and you're sharing an activity that people like.
Hmm.
You're being present. You have to be present. You have to be proactive in your own business.
I like it. I like it. The fortunes and the follow up.
It always is.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I hear so often people say, well, I don't want to bother people. I'm like, no. This is you're bothering people if you're calling up simply to try to sell them something. When
Exactly.
we say the fortunes and the follow up, you're following up people to ask them about their lives, ask them about their business, ask them what they like best about whatever it is you shared with them previously. Find out whether or not there's any updates or things that have changed in their lives that would make them either more receptive to your message or
Mhm.
sometimes less receptive, but because you followed up with them and they realize you're not just there trying to take from them, they may
Exactly.
actually they may actually refer you some business. They may actually tell other people about you. They'll become an advocate and say, you know what, I didn't do business with this person because it happens, but they're good people and you should say
Mhm.
hello to them. Yeah, I like it.
Yep. And here's the thing, it's not new.
Hmm.
It works though.
Yes.
It works. If you don't have people, you have no business. I can't think of a business that you're in, even if you are someone who makes millions of dollars on Amazon selling products, you still need people to buy those products. So
Yes.
again, if you don't have people, you have no business.
You don't. You don't have no business. You have no business. Is my education messing me up? It's messing me up. You said it, I heard it, and then it came out totally different. But I got it. Okay. um, so look, as we start to wrap up here, I guess we kind of wrap up the way we normally wrap up, but talk to our audience. Like, what are you doing now? Where are you taking your practice? Like, who are your ideal clients, who that you like to work with? Where do you see yourself 3, 5 years from now? And how people get in contact with you.
That was a lot at one time.
I know it was. So let's start with, where are you taking your business? What are you taking aim at? Who do you want to work with? Your ideal client, all that wonderfulness, right?
Okay. My business right now is starting over. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm still a
Yeah.
realtor. I am still a realtor. When I say I'm starting over with the ground structure of
Yes.
my business. Um, quick little snippet. I'm going to try not to make this a rant. I'm going to try really, really hard. Um, when I was out in the world wholesaling, it was easy to get into because it didn't cost you anything, and it really didn't. You really can make money without very much out of your pocket. And because that money came so easily, I did not invest in myself the correct way. Now, what do I
Mhm.
mean by that? What I mean is, I didn't take the time to establish and build my own business credit. Working with people is great, it is wonderful. Partnering with people is fantastic when you can do it. However, there is always going to come a time when you are going to need your own resources to save yourself or save a deal. Hence the lawsuit. I did not have the resources to save myself or save the deal. There was no place for me to pull that extra $30,000 that I needed at that time.
Mhm.
So I am focusing very heavily on building my business credit and making sure that my business has everything that it needs to look good to potential creditors and other investors. That's number one. Number two, my ideal client is anybody who needs help with real estate, literally anybody. And I will tell you, I try my best to help people in every situation. If you are being foreclosed on and you still got 6 months, if I can help you, I will. I will say don't wait until the day after your period expires because I can absolutely do nothing for you
Mhm.
per the law, per the law. And if there literally anything, if there's a situation that you're in, I will always try to help. I try my best to be a good connector. If I can't do it 9 times out of 10, I know someone else who can. So that's what I'm doing. I'm listing houses and I'm wholesaling and I'm building a rental car business as well. So those are all the things that I have going on right now.
Why did you do that? Because you know I want to ask questions about
I
it.
didn't know. I thought
It's
we
like,
were all
it's like,
finished.
no,
I
no,
didn't
I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come for you. We're gonna talk again. We're gonna talk again because now I knew you were starting a business, but it slipped my mind. I knew you were doing that.
I feel that.
Yeah, because I can think of multiple ways to win with
Hmm.
that. And I know you can, we're gonna have a conversation offline about what that looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's been on my mind a little bit too. Detroit's a fascinating market. Like we deal with
It is.
different factors in other places, but I still think people keep telling me it can't be done. That's the last thing you want to tell someone like me is it can't be done. So
Please
I
don't
will,
tell me what I can't do.
yeah. I mean, I know universal law. I do believe that. I don't believe I'm above universal law. I do not believe I'm above practical market factors and things like that.
Mhm.
But when someone says something can't be done, sometimes the way I interpret that is that's an opportunity. Someone hasn't come up with a solution yet.
Exactly.
And yeah, so okay. Um, Folks want to get in contact with you, they want to chop it up, engage. How do we do that?
Okay. I do have a LinkedIn page. You can just search my name. You will find me there. And also, a good number to reach me at is 248-266-0458. You can call or text me at that number. Um, and I'm pretty easy to get a hold of.
Fantastic. I love it. But I appreciate you taking time with us. I know you're not twiddling your thumbs. All real estate agents, successful ones I know, is like they're getting it all the time.
Mhm.
So I know I was fortunate to catch up with you. I probably, would have to bribe you with something to get you to sit still again. But I'm
Well, you can catch me at that 5 a.m. hour,
yeah. Yeah, we'll be the only one, we'll be one of the few people up in our network, right?
Hey,
It is
nobody
what it
worked
is.
on.
Yep. So yes, next op social family that you're able to plug in. Here's some information. Follow up with Miss Aniah Jackson. We only got like 1/3. This just has a lot going on. She's a lot on the ball. I love the humility and the fact that you've been there and done that. So you can identify, you can empathize with people who may be going through stuff themselves right now and help them come through some things. So, and of course, we ask, as always, hit the like, the share button. So the social media universe is aware of the fact that we are bringing value to the marketplace. And tune in to the next episode. We celebrate success in advance. Goodbye for now.
Have a great day.
All right.